Regarding our express call topic, as we always do, it is concerning unions and labor groups, which are gearing up for a fight over a controversial bill forcing them to open up their books, be more transparent about their spending. Bill C-377 passed through the House, and it's now heading to the Senate.
Brent Rathgeber is a Conservative MP for Edmonton St. Albert. He has spoken out against this bill and joins us now from Ottawa. Good morning, sir.
Good to be here, Dan.
You're in a somewhat unique position. Your party passes this bill. You're not fussy about it. Can you tell us why?
Well, as a legislator, I need to see an overwhelming public purpose before the Parliament passes legislation, and I don't know that there is a public purpose here, or at least not one that I see. I'm all for transparency and accountability. I think unions ought to be transparent and accountable to their members. I'm less convinced that they need to be accountable to members of the public generally who don't pay dues to that union and therefore don't seem to have a vested interest in how those unions spend those dollars.
This is a massive undertaking, though, isn't it, Mr. Rathgeber? I mean, are you getting any sense of what it'll cost just to get this kind of scrutiny going, or it's all worth it?
Well, as I said, I don't think it's worth it. I don't think the legislation's worth it. I understand the unamended bill, there was an estimate that it was going to cost taxpayers $12 million in terms of creating and maintaining the website. The bill's been amended and limited in scope. The $5,000 threshold has been raised to $100,000 threshold. So I understand that that's going to reduce the cost to the taxpayer considerably, possibly by the new estimates might be more in the range of $3 to $3.5 million. But regardless of the cost, and not to say that that's an insignificant cost, but there's a principle at stake here, and that is there a public interest in this type of information? Many organizations, including some that I belong to, the Law Society of Alberta, the Canadian Bar Association, even the St. Albert Chamber of Commerce, all operate on dues that are tax deducted by the person who chooses to belong. So the argument that the tax deductibility of dues somehow creates a public interest is troubling to me, because it doesn't apply to other organizations that belong
now,
or that operate on tax deducted dues.
Why not? Are you surprised at that?
Well, I can't answer that. I'm not the sponsor of the bill.
No, but what do you think?
Well, I think, first of all, I guess if we are going to go down the road that tax deductibility of dues creates a public interest, then firstly, yes, it has to be more universally applied. But I don't accept that premise. I don't accept the premise that tax deductibility creates a public interest. The issue of what you do with your private money that the government chooses not to tax, I think, is a private matter, and whether you spend it joining a club like the St. Albert Chamber of Commerce, or whether as a business person you take your clients out for lunch and write off 50% of that expense, I think that's your private business, and I don't think that the public has a right in that type of private transaction.
All right. Well, of course, it's a topic we're going to be discussing at length coming up. Brent Rathgeber has been our guest. He's a Conservative MP for Edmonton St. Albert, speaking out against this bill. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So it's that time of the day. In a couple of minutes, we will kick off.